Are you interested in shooting anamorphic with a GH5? Then check this out. It's very exciting to finally have a camera like the GH5 that can do 10-bit 4K anamorphic mode. And on top of that, put it together with the Atomos, it shoots in ProRes. So first off, I highly recommend getting the 8-sin camera rig that I have right here. I spent $450 to get this thing, but it's beautiful. I mean, it does a great job protecting your camera. I mean, if you look at it closely, it's nice, it's hot. So I highly recommend getting this cage, which also comes with a pro handle that you could adjust to make it go forward or backward to balance your rig. So I got myself a Anamorphic 2.0 SLR, and if you're gonna use it with the GH5, you have to use it with a lens that's 35mm and above. So when I use it with a 35mm, you still get a little bit of vignetting on the side. So I use it mainly with my 42.5mm f1.7 Lumix lens, made out of metal. It has a stabilizer and it just looks nice. It's not as big, which then would make your camera look even bigger with this huge SLR Magic in front of it. So of course, just a couple of things that I want to mention about the GH5 that I really like is that it has a 2 SD card slot, and I recommend getting the UHS Class 2 SD card for it since it shoots at 10 bits, so you kind of want to get a faster SD card to be able to capture without interrupting your shoot. And I've had that done before during the middle of a shoot. My card wasn't fast enough, error message, and it's embarrassing to tell everybody, oh guys, cut, even though the director's behind me and he should be calling the cuts, right? So get yourself a fast SD card and don't get embarrassed like how I got embarrassed. The ergonomics, the way it feels in your hand, it's got a very innovative menu system that it allows you to quickly navigate and get to what you need to get to make the changes in your settings. What I really want to get into is shooting in 10-bit 422 with an anamorphic lens. It's Anamorphic 2.0, but you could pay a little extra for the rangefinder, and I highly recommend getting that. Without the rangefinder, you have to focus with your lens, then you have to focus with anamorphic lens, and it just becomes a pain in the butt. But with a rangefinder, you put your focal length on infinity and put the anamorphic lens to normal. Nobody ever mentioned that before. It took me a while to figure that out. Put it to normal, and then now you could use just the rangefinder to focus in and out. The down part about the rangefinder is that the closest focus point is 3.6 feet. So you would have to get yourself a diopter if you want to get even closer and even have that bigger bokeh effect. You have to kind of shoot it in aperture 4 and above if you're looking for a very clean, crisp image. So I recommend getting a rig system for your anamorphic lens. Otherwise, your camera cannot hold this massive lens on its own. It's super heavy. I think it's just gonna damage your camera in the long run. So you gotta get yourself a rig that has a little lens holder in the front to give support. I also recommend getting the follow focus as well. It's great thing about this rangefinder is that to focus, it takes a while for it to focus from close to the distance, which is great for shooting film. Unlike the regular lens where it's just a small little boop and then that's where the focus is. You kind of want to be able to control the depth of field by having a slower focus. So the great thing about shooting with the GH5 and the anamorphic lens is that you could shoot in 10-bit 4K 422, and when you de-squeeze the video, it actually comes to about a 6K video format. Now I finally got myself the Atomos Ninja Inferno. This was made to be compatible with the GH5. It came out at the same time. Yes, there's a lot of features that the Ninja Inferno has, which if you want to know anything about it, just write to me below and I could give you any information about it. like the HDR and putting in a LUT, and whether you could burn the LUT or not use the LUT or just use it as a reference, right? The pros about shooting in camera with the GH5 is that the file size is a lot smaller, right? It's 150 megabits per second, so you could shoot a lot and not take up so much space. But with the Atomos Ninja Inferno, shooting with ProRes 422 or even with ProRes HQ, it takes up so much memory. So that's the reason why you also need to get yourself that 500 gigabyte SSD drive, or even a terabyte if you can. So if you're gonna use an external monitor with your anamorphic lens in anamorphic mode with a GH5, you have to get yourself a monitor recorder like this one. You can't just use a monitor. When you plug in the HDMI and you're shooting in anamorphic mode, the signal won't go through and you just have a black screen. And it's super frustrating that it does that, but you know what, it's cool. It kind of forces you to get the recorder, and then now you just have a better video quality anyway. So get yourself the Atomos Ninja Inferno. So I also want to mention that if you want to get the vlog, you have to pay $100. It doesn't come with the camera. I thought that if you pre-order the GH5 that it'll come with it, but it doesn't. So you have to spend an extra $100 to get the vlog, so that you could actually maximize your Atomos Ninja Inferno. The Ninja Inferno reads off the vlog and has this HDR mode that really does an amazing job to help you shoot better. So that concludes my short video of the GH5 with the anamorphic setup and the Ninja Inferno. If you have any questions about any of the items, just put it in the comment below. Please subscribe. This is my first video, and I'm going to be making more videos to talk about my anamorphic shooting and what's good and what's bad. So stay tuned.